Bugs, how beneficial was that Team USA, experience, and what did you learn about yourself and everything during that time?
It was very beneficial, very good eye-opener for me. It was my first time doing anything USA, so just in that, it was just very grateful to at least be there. Everybody gets the opportunity. And just, I did learn a lot. It just kind of made me want to just go hard. Like, wherever you are, you have to step up and go to work. You're not going to have, I didn't have my teammates, so they didn't know me in the entirety or whatever, but that just kind of made me think like, hey, wherever I go, this next step, no matter what, I just need to come in and step up and play my game and just be myself.
And then on this team, losing a lot of leadership from last year, do you feel a need to step up, and do you have to get out of your comfort zone at all to kind of do that?
I mean, yeah, I do need to step up. I am a senior. I've been here 4 years, and just the vets that have been here too. I think we all can put our own input in, and I think we're just really willing to listen to each other. And yeah, leadership has been challenging, I won't lie, and having that expectation from my coaches, kind of just to lead by example, and to open my mouth and get uncomfortable. I think I wouldn't say it'll be an adjustment, but it's hard at times. But I'm grateful for that. That's something that I value and look at, not necessarily a challenge, but a blessing that's going to help me in the future in many ways. So I'm not looking at it as a challenge. It is challenging, but just blessed to have that.
And then Talia, are you healthy? How are you feeling going into this season, and what are your expectations for yourself this year?
Yeah, I'm healthy. It's been I've been a year away from the sport, but I'm back healthy and I'm back ready to play. And I think just for me, I'm in a place where I just want to win, right? No matter what necessarily I have to do or what I have to contribute, I just want to win alongside my teammates. And so that, really the expectation for me is to win. It's just simple as that. But yeah, I'm healthy, I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to perform for y'all.
Talia, I'm guessing you were welcomed with open arms, but how much did it help to have Coach Harris here, to have you here, the people that you knew, just to kind of help with your adjustment?
Yeah, I think coming with Coach Harris, and then also Uton, coming with a teammate that, I actually practiced with and I was around, having them, it brought a comfort level, right? It's I'm not starting all the way completely fresh. I have some familiar faces that I know that I can relate to, and that I've been, knowing, right? I've known Coach Harris since she was recruiting me in middle school, right? And so I've known her for a while, and so being able to come with her and come on a new journey with her, I'm excited. It's made the adjustments so much more easier knowing that, I have someone that I can definitely, go to. If I feel like I can't talk, I can definitely talk to her. And coming with her, it's made the adjustments so much easier. And then, I have, my friend with me. I brought my teammate, my friend with me, joking, all that stuff. So it's been easier. It's been an easy adjustment.
Bugs entering, your senior year. First of all, has that kind of sunk in, and just, how important is this season for you going in to kind of, finish up this chapter?
No, it hasn't sunken in at all. I think just being here for the time I have been, and coming as a freshman with all my upperclassmen, and I wouldn't say being treated like a freshman, but I know we were a true freshman, me, Bella, and Kyla, and I think that's something that I hold dear to my heart, because even throughout the years, it's still been. I know some of my coaches are like, oh, the freshmen, and we're sophomores and juniors. So it hasn't sunken in at all. It's kind of crazy still that people are like senior and I'm senior. I'm so happy though. It's been a really great journey. I've enjoyed every bit of it here and whatnot, and I'm just ready to play and all that. As far as expectations, like I said, I'm just here to live in the moment and just cherish all the memories this far.
So to both of you, you'll open up in France, overseas, against Duke. How's that sound? Are you excited for it?
Oh, I'm so excited, and just not the basketball aspect, but going to Paris anyway. That I've never been there, and you always see it on TV and whatnot. So for that in itself, I'm excited. But also, yes, getting to play, they're a really good team. So I'm excited to have that level of competition and get to play against them.
Yeah, I'm really excited to go overseas. I've been waiting for this ever since they announced it. I've been like, yes, we're going to Paris. I'm so excited. But being able to start off the season starting off the season with that good of a team, being able to see where we're right off the bat instead of, playing some teams and then challenging ourselves right off the bat. That's going to test a lot of stuff. It's going to test how tough we are. It's going to test whether the result of it, how well we bounce back and how well we adapt. And so being able to play a great team like that, like I'm excited. And then showcase the first game of the season. All eyes are on us. Like there's no choice but to perform.
Bugs, you mentioned Kyla. She took some big steps last year. Do you expect her to take even more this year? What do you expect from Kyla this year?
Oh, Kyla. I do expect her to take like leaps this year. She came in for us and was super consistent. Like proud is an understatement, and I know she's just kind of been struggling in her years here a little bit, but just to see her have that burst, and not even just for us and her helping us win, but like for herself. I think she's also unlocked some stuff in herself to show like, hey, I can do this, I can be here, and that was just something really special to unfold. Me and Kyla are really close, so just to I obviously didn't want to be hurt, but to get there and sit there and watch that was like amazing. Like if I could do that again, I would. Like watching my team flourish in that aspect was like some of the best time I've like had in life. But I expect her, make jumps this year for sure. And she's already shown that, and not just on the court, but just being a leader as well. Like people go up to ask her questions, and she's like, okay, well, yes, I'm here to support you, or she uses her own voice. And maybe in the past she didn't really speak up. Like people go to her and think of her as a leader as well. So I'm super excited for her. I can't wait to get to play with her one more year. So.
And then Talia, I know that Nikki's system is not the easiest probably to pick up. How quickly have you been able to kind of pick up what she wants you to do, especially for a guard where I think more is expected?
I think it's been kind of an easy adjustment for me. I think that, walking through it, her explaining, I think she does a really good job of explaining exactly what she wants out of actions, and exactly how she wants you to read, exactly how she wants you to, come off of certain screens. And so her being able to explain that to me, it's been easier for me to pick up instead of, just having to watch it and try to understand it myself. But I think her says she runs a great system, especially offensively, especially for guards. And she gives you the freedom to play in what she's trying to do. And so being able to, pick my spots and learning during the summer which spots I can, be able to do this, and what spots should I pass and what spots should I shoot in, what can I score out of, stuff like that. Being able to learn that over the summer, and then having her correct, like, okay, you could have looked at this, okay, look at this, right? I think she does a great job of communicating and letting me know, what's good and what, okay, maybe we should get better at this. And so I feel like the adjustment hasn't been hard at all. She's made it extremely easy for me, and I really love her system that she has for offense. I do. I love it.
Okay, last one. Here we go.
First practice of the season, what's the message? What's the vibe? What's in y'all's heads headed in to the season and looking forward?
Good vibes always. Like I think, like Talia said, like you usually get teams to kind of help you get there, but to have a high level as Duke to get to play with them first, like that's all we could ask for, and I'm looking forward to that in a way that we get to challenge ourselves right off the bat. That's something that to put in perspective.
Yeah, I think first day of practice, I mean, we've been doing this the whole summer, right? It's just a title. It's just something that marks the start of the hours, but we've been doing this the whole summer. And so just continuing what we've built up to this point, and just continuing to get better at, all the little things, and continuing to try to perfect, what she wants us to do. But yeah, it's the start of a season. Like we're excited. No, like if somebody says they're not excited, like they're lying. Like everybody is so excited. The vibes are high, and we're just ready to go out there and, practice and play.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
changes today? I guess official hours and all that, but what changes today, I guess?
Actually, I would tell you a lot changes because right as you get started, when you're in your 4-hour weeks, you have to stop, So I think it's like abbreviated relative to what we're capable of doing. And so, you kind of, summers for me are about evaluating what our new players can do, the growth of our returning players, system-wise, what actions we might be better at so that I can determine, okay, well, how am I going to build out offensively with this group? And every year it's a little bit different. And so you have some coaches that their system never changes and it's plug and play. But to me, a lot of what I enjoy doing is figuring out what's special about each group and the ways we can be different, and then the similarities, and then that determines, how I build out the time, and those, if you're going an hour and you're doing 20 minutes of defense, now we're doing 45 minutes of defense. So believe me, they'll feel a difference.
What are your expectations for Bugs this season? Obviously, she had a big summer going to Team USA, all that stuff, and now she's coming back as probably one of the obvious leaders on this team. What do you expect from Bugs this season?
I think when you look at Bugs' career, we talk a lot about her career, even with recruits, because you look at the success that she's had, but the growth that she's had each year. Her freshman year, she was unanimous freshman of the year, and she shot 25% outside 5 feet. And so, we did a good job of getting her to places on the floor that she could be effective, and she was. And then sophomore year, she started to knock down that 15-footer consistently, but still didn't make threes, and had more assists than turnovers, So you saw a lot of growth in her ability to facilitate from her freshman to sophomore year. We put her in middle actions a lot more and have the ability now to hopefully play with her coming off ball screen some, and mixing, position versatility, even if she's still playing the power forward. Can we get in 4 or 5 screens? Can we invert screens and get our little screening for her? Because she has some versatility and ability to get to her spots and really knock down her shot. I think, to me, what I see growth is confidence in making and taking shots. And so whether that's from 3, where, she started to make them as a junior, but not high volume and not high efficiency. So can we get her above 30% this year? Don't suddenly expect her to be a 40% three-point shooter, but can we get her in that range where she can knock big ones down in big games? And so I think that's like her development story is what we sell to recruits, because you look at the growth in her game. One thing's remained the same. She's hard to keep off the glass. She's going to play in space. She keeps the ball moving. You don't have to run a ton of plays to her. But my hope is that this year I'm running more plays to her, instead of playing through her.
Nick, you talked about looking for things that you can do special with some of the players coming in or as a group. I know it's early, but are there things that stand out to you or things you're watching for that think, oh, this group might be different than others?
Yeah, I think it's a blessing and a curse right now, honestly, because we have all these big wings. And so trying to figure out how capable are we of playing them at the same time? And then what is that going to look like if we truly only have one primary ball handler out there with them? I think the thing about Yu Ting and Kira and Bella, they all have position versatility, but none of them are point guards. None of them are players that you're going to put in as many ball screens as we typically put a Sarah Andrews, who wasn't technically our point guard, but could play in as many ball screens as Jada. And so really understanding that what can we do when that big group is on the floor, whether we've got Jana at the 1 or Talia at the 1, and now we play big everywhere else. Like, what are we capable of doing with one true primary ball handler? And so it's fun to think about and play with, and you're going to have a mismatch somewhere. But also, you have to play that against the right teams, because when you need that secondary ball handler, it becomes Bugs. Like, I've played Bugs at the point, shockingly, a lot this fall, just to get her comfortable, not necessarily running the point, but being a secondary ball handler, bringing it down, thinking she might have the best matchup as far as someone's ability to really pressure her. And so she has the ability to be safe with the basketball, so if she can get us into offense, it's not necessarily she's got to call all the plays, but if she can get us into offense, it allows me the creativity to work with a bigger lineup.
And also, what's it mean to the program to have a full-time general manager and one who obviously knows the program pretty well?
She's solid. No, I think it's really important. I think the nature of where we're at with the house settlement, with revenue share, with the way it impacts recruiting, I think we're looking at it a little bit differently than some schools. I don't think Juliana is someone that is just, hey, keep track of my cap and let's crunch numbers. But it's about how do we elevate the experience of our players? How do we go out and get, outside external NIL deals to potentially separate ourselves in the market? How do we build relationships with local, regional, and national, operations that allow us to truly build the brand of our players? And so while revenue shares is truly more of a pay-for-play situation, we want to differentiate ourselves in the market by building brands, which is kind of how NIL started. How are you elevating the name, image, and likeness of your players? And she's a pretty awesome human. So we add another person in our office space that, is going to pour into our current student athletes, just like our staff and support staff do.
Nikki, how is Jana's health?
Yeah, she's ready to go. It's just our training staff that's holding her back at this point. If you ask her, we're just being careful with Jana. We feel like she's in a really, really good place physically, but when it's been 9 months since you had the kind of load on your body week in and week out, it's about building that load so we don't have setbacks. So right now, Jana's all in load building mode. Even though she feels great and capable of doing everything, we don't want to push her to the point where she doubles her load in a week. And so she's going to be back in a lot of things. We need her to be back. She's a massive difference maker, even in 3-on-3 and 5-on-5. She knows what we do. She knows why we do it. We lost 500 assists from last year's team. And, between Yaya, Sarah, and Jada. And so, I think Jana has the ability to lead our league in assists. I think she honestly has the ability to lead the nation in assists this year. And I've not told her that, but, I really believe the way she plays, the way we play, and the opportunity for minutes for her will give her that opportunity.
Kind of following up on that, just with so many guards who are pretty new to the program, lots of first-year guards, how big is it to have Jana here, kind of who has that experience here?
Yeah, I mean, she's a sixth-year senior that's won a national championship and has had to, really learn our system and go through her own struggles on and off the court and grow up. And, a year ago, she was set to probably have an unbelievable senior year. And for her to go down in the first year, was uber disappointing for her at the same time. It was, certainly not good for us. But when I look at where our roster is now and what she's capable of doing with this team, I think it's a unique opportunity for her to lead, which she would have never done with last year's team. She would have been incredibly impactful because of what she brought off the bench. I think this gives her a chance to truly be a leader in this program. And I think she's excited about that challenge. It's a different challenge in her career. She's in grad school. She's doing an internship, on a day-to-day basis. But I think it gives her just a chance to do something she's never done in her collegiate career. And so to be in a sixth year and to have the gratitude of the opportunity is really, really cool from a leadership perspective.
And with you being able to see Bella, Bugs, Kyla, all the way now to seniors, I guess, just, what's that kind of development been like? And just how big is this year for those guys, going into what probably the last hurrah?
Yeah, I think one of the things that's really special, and we did this research, thinking about the nature of college sports and where we're at with the transfer portal. We're only one of 5 Power 4 schools that have their entire 2022 class intact. And so to have those three have started with us, you know, and Kyla's going to get an extra year. And so I think that's going to be huge for her. But I think, you know, having those three plus Jana, we have 4 players that have been at this place playing for me for 4 years and understand the standards and the expectation and how we do things and why we do things. And I'm not just talking about X's and O's. I'm talking about like the culture of the locker room, the expectation of how we show up for one another, how we treat one another. And, you know, I'm grateful that we've done a good job of not just helping those guys become better basketball players, but, you know, they're all on pace to graduate on time. And I think in this landscape, that's really unique. I think they're all have a chance to do special things this year. Obviously, Bugs was first team all conference and has a chance to be one of the premier players, not just in our league, but in the country. I think Bella can make a huge jump from more of a 3-and-D player to, you know, doing a little bit more off the bounce and having the ball in her hands more. But ultimately, I want her goal to be go from all defensive team to defensive player of the year. Like, she should challenge herself to be the best positional defender in our league. You know, her strength, her versatility, her understanding of angles, like she can be a lockdown defender on a lot of different type players in this league. And then Kyla just needs to make a big jump. You know, we saw a jump a year ago and her ability to give us good minutes in key moments, backing up Nettie. We certainly don't have anyone, you know, penciled into the starting lineup, but we've got 3 kids right now fighting really to get minutes at the 5. And I think she, you know, has some advantages because she's been here the longest, but I'm a big believer in earn it between the lines, day in and day out. You know, and the name of her game has always been show up consistently. Over her career, that she's had great moments, she's had great days. She's sometimes had great weeks, but stringing days to weeks to months is what Kyla needs to do to continue to, you know, elevate her game. And ultimately, it's about her conditioning as well. You know, there's a difference between coming off the bench and spelling someone for 2 or 3 minutes and getting more consistent minutes where we leave you out there. And I think that's where she's got to grow through. I'm starting to get tired. I'm starting to get fatigued, and battle through fatigue and still give us, you know, elite screening, rim protection, you know, all of those things that make her effective for us on the court.
Yeah, I want to ask you about Markayla Johnson, the only true freshman on the team. What's it like for her being in that role, and what do you see from her in her first year?
Yeah, the kid's a competitor. She wants it. You know, you can see it in her eyes. You can see the way she trains outside of practice time. I mean, she's just really, really hungry. And, you know, I took her to lunch last week because it's hard. Like, summers are easy. You know, we're moving slow. We're doing individual work. We're building to 3-on-3. You know, freshmen usually start sinking in mid-October when they go from 8 hours to 20 hours. They're not in 2 online classes in the summer. They're in 15 credits. We're putting in defensive schemes, offensive schemes. You know, you're learning different offenses, different ways to guard a ball screen, and your head starts swimming. And you stop doing sometimes the things that, you know, you've always done to put yourself in position to be recruited by Baylor. Markayla is a relentless competitor. She's got a really good mid-range. I would tell you she's a better three-point shooter than I thought, you know, kind of watching her in high school and club. I think she's more consistent from 3. But, you know, players have to learn when they come here that their impact does not come from solely scoring, you know, and I think that's the nature of oftentimes freshmen and transfers. It's like they want their impact to be, I can show you that I can go score. Markayla can score. She's got a really good skill set. But if you want to get on the floor at Baylor, you got to defend. You got to share the basketball. You know, if you go 3 for 9 in a practice, I'm not that excited. But if you go 3 for 9 and you're defending and you're rebounding and where you're supposed to be, then that's fine. But I think it's her understanding both ends of the floor. and understanding how hard she has to play all the time. But she is really talented and really hungry and has a chance to have a very, very special career here.
I want to ask you, too, about the new members of the staff this year, Johnny, Taz, and Jalen. What have they brought to the team, and what do you enjoy about working with them?
Yeah, I think, as much as it was hard to lose people that were important to our team, but they were important to me in just, like, my life, and I think but it also allowed me to reimagine our staff and to maybe make it a little bit different and strong in areas that we maybe weren't as strong in. I think Tez is someone who lives to be on the floor. He's a player development guy. He'll play one-on-one with them. He's really positive. I think that's the thread that runs through all of them is the care factor and then the positivity factor. Tez loves to be on the court. Certainly is involved in recruiting as well, but I really hired him because this generation has been raised with a player development mindset, and the one-on-one, attention to detail. And I think we're in a unique position here where with GAs and practice guys, he can not only coach him up, but he's got people to set screens for him and defend the screener. And that's something that a lot of player development coaches don't have when they're coaching 16-year-olds and they're being defended by cones. And as Tony says, they don't grow, those cones don't have arms and legs. And so it's a lot easier to make moves and make plays against cones. Jalen is just, she's got elite energy. She just has positive energy. She's really involved from a recruiting perspective in our graphics and our, what are we doing that's fun? What are we doing that's different? She's involved with our creative team because she's just a lot more hip than the rest of us. But her player development is good. She's working with our point guards. She's on the court with our point guards a lot and really going to focus on the defensive side. I joked with Tony that he took the girls and I took the guys when it came to splitting up, kind of offensive, defensive, because I've got Tez and Aaron and he's got Johnny and Jalen. And then Johnny, she's just a winner. She's won at every level. She's an elite position to, development in terms of bigs but she's a mom. She cooks for us all the time. I always said I thought I was a good cook, but I don't cook for the masses. I think my limit is about, a party of 8. But she cooks for the entire office, and there's leftovers. And so she definitely has that motherly vibe, but she's a winner, and she's an accountability person. You're going to do it right, and there's no messing around. And so I think it's a really good balance. I think we have really good energy in our office space. I think everybody's comfortable going into everyone's office, and I think it shows in recruiting. We've had parents tell us we can tell when the staff doesn't get along, they work together, but they don't actually like one another. And I don't usually hire people I don't like. So I don't care how good you are. I don't care how well you recruit or your X's and O's. I want people that I want to be around and that are going to pour into our student athletes. We'll figure out the basketball part.
Coach, you've mentioned before that your system is maybe harder on guards to pick up, and you've had Sarah and Jada for the last few years to do that. How has Talia, picked it up, and have you had to shift your expectation on how you teach it at all?
Oh, I'm getting better. Point guards it's the hardest challenge for them. If you look at Jada's numbers from her first year to her second year, not that she didn't have a huge end of the season for us, but she had a significant lull in the middle of the year. Guards need to learn that the only person they need to listen to is me. It's like me learning that, the only person I had to please was Mac, and it's not, what people say on Twitter or anywhere else. I think Jada came here and was trying to keep everybody happy, and the only person she needed to keep happy was me. But I think it's a challenge when you've been taught to play a certain way. Hey, there's a ball screen, go score, and we're telling you to turn your shoulders and work your feet and read who's tagging the roller, and they just have never heard our language. And at times you you can have paralysis by analysis, and that happens to guards in our system, like, because it just feels like once they get one thing, I'm adding another thing to their plate. And so, with Talia, I think Talia wants to be, we had talked to her in the recruiting process about, being more of a facilitator, having the ball in her hands. She's an elite scorer. She's proven she can score in the SEC, even as a freshman. But, she averaged about an assist a game when she was at Arkansas. Now, that kid is such an elite scorer. I don't need her to average 7 assists a game, But I think in having that conversation about, hey, I want you to make the right read. The right read, if you're open, you shoot it. And then the next time, if that's the same read, you shoot it again. But getting her to understand she can be a playmaker. And I think she took that to heart and was probably trying to play make too much. And so I just told her, shoot it, and I promise I'll tell you when you shoot it too much. But I think that's been her challenge, and some of it is just wanting to please her teammates, wanting to. But I think her strength is scoring the basketball, and the more she looks to score it, the easier the next read's going to be. But that kid loves basketball, and she likes to be in the gym, and she's someone I don't worry about her conditioning. Like she plays through fatigue. You don't see it. She's a willing teammate. I'm trying to get her not to take charges because of the history with her wrist, but I promise you she's going to take charges. She's a little like Caitlin that way. And so, I think she's picking it up, but it's always tough for first-year players. And anyone who ever we've put the ball in her hands, whether it was Jana's first year or, it's a lot because we don't have a system where you pass and cut to the point, pass the corner. That's the point guard's making a decision on every possession. And at times I can be the point guard for them, but not in first half of games. So with every player, I also from year 1 to year 2 learned how to coach Jada better. What are Jada's strengths? What does she need to hear from me? What's too much for her? Okay, here's 2 options, not 4. I tried to give her 4 options her junior year, and I got about half an option because she was trying to figure out which option to run. So last year she had 2, and depending on what we thought the defense was going to do to us. So.
Nikki, with the conference grind too, do you worry about this schedule being too much? I'm sure there's some of these games that you couldn't say no to, but that's a lot.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. I think that our schedule is very challenging. November, being on the road, whether they're neutral site games or road games, we're still on the road a lot. We're going to miss more class than we've ever missed since I've been here. But I do think when you talk about a platform, if we're going to go out into the recruiting world and say, Baylor's brand is big and we're going to be invited to play in these games and you're going to have an opportunity to prove, what you're capable and what we're capable of. How do you say no to playing in the first game of the year on national TV in Paris? How do you say no when you have a long-standing rivalry with Texas to play in Dickies and, or the WBCA is we need to help us keep getting this thing off the ground and you have a chance to play Iowa. So I think for us, if you look at the nature of the NCAA tournament and the selection committee, people are not getting dinged for scheduling difficult. And so we certainly want to win those games, but I think we're going to learn a lot from all of them. And I can confidently say over my time at Baylor, we've always been better in February and March. And so one way or the other, we're going to get better. I mean, we certainly struggled at the beginning of last year. I don't think we played elite basketball, early in the season. I'd like to think we'll be further ahead with the roster we have now. But I can't say that for sure. But I also know when we needed to win in February and build our resume to host, we did. And so, I think as long as we coach them hard, but, really learn. I mean, we're getting ready to arguably play against the best defense in the country the first game. So you're going to figure out whether our offense is any good. But we're going to see where our holes are, when we play against Duke, because we're going to play a fast and physical and on the road this summer. Everyone told me, like, you can't mimic it, and until you're feeling it, there's no way to get your team to understand how physical and fast Duke's defense is. So, you know, I think from that perspective, we've got a challenge right off the bat. But I'll tell you, the other part is when you can tell your team that a practice isn't good enough, because is that going to help you beat Duke? You've got that carrot to dangle out there and remind them what the expectation is. Yep. Thank you.